And now for something completely different. Some of you might know where that came from. At any rate, this is a diversion from the work on the Challenger 2. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching.
Oh, hi there. What am I working on? Well, I'm working on a panel for the other airplane that I'm working on, I own part of it with five other guys. So that's the Emerald. If you remember from a previous episode, I'll stick the little card up here for the episode where, well, you know, the EAA hangar, oh my word, was a hoppin'. I think I'd give you a little tour of the Emerald. This is going to be the panel. I've got some holes cut, obviously, as you can see, and I'm going to be cutting out now this square hole for the EFIS, which just happens to be the same EFIS that I put inside my Challenger 2, which is the Grand Rapids Technologies Sport EX. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing a little bit of work on this panel right now, and I guess maybe I'll film that. And then another in other good news, the tool that I was waiting for arrived, and that's the tool that I need to disassemble that engine to pull the flywheel off. So I'm going to be doing that as soon as I finish doing the cutout for the EFIS on this panel. And I'm happy with that, and get this panel ready for mounting of switches and breakers and that kind of stuff, and then you know, the finish work. Yeah, so glad you could follow along. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and watch till the end of the video. I know a lot of people, you know, yeah, whatever, click. Well, if you do that, fine, do it now. If you're gonna go click, let's see. Nobody left. Wow. Yeah. So follow along as I work on two different airplanes today. I'll see what I put together as far as editing goes, but whether I show you everything from one or the other, or I don't even know. I have no idea. Anyways, again, thanks for following along. Back to work. A brand new Dremel tool. Yep. Had to buy a new one. Don't know what happened to my other one. Oh well, okay. Let's see if this works.
And this is where I jump into warp speed again. You know, it's just me trying to save time in editing so that you don't sit there and watch me work on something mundane and boring. Right here, I'm just using that tool to cut the square hole for the EFIS, and you notice I am wearing safety glasses. Please, if you're doing any of this kind of work, wear safety glasses. Especially with this tool, my word, there were so many chips and aluminum dust flying all over the place. Yeah, safety glasses, please do so. So I'm going to jump in and out of here with comments and warp speed, and I hope you enjoy. Well, let's go back to regular speed.
Oh, aye. A lot of aluminum shavings. Yeah, that works, but you really gotta control it. It doesn't make a straight line. Probably if I fastened a straight edge onto here to run that along, I think it would work a lot better. This is my first time ever using that type of cutting tool. So, so far I like it, but I am certainly learning how to use it.
Yeah, there is a learning curve to using this rotary cutting tool. Uh, I've seen them before where the people use it on drywall to cut out drywall. I've seen professionals using that drywall cutting tool for the longest time. I always thought, boy, sure would be nice to have something that would cut aluminum and that kind of stuff. And when I was buying this replacement Dremel tool today, I looked and says, "Wow, I wonder what that is." So yeah, they had this cutting tool, and I thought it says it works on aluminum and steel and everything else. Let's give it a try. It's probably hokey, probably won't work, and it'll probably be a piece of junk like most other stuff is. But I was really surprised at how well this worked, how easily it cut through the aluminum. Now, you really have to hold on tight, and you have to control it because it will drift on you because it's a rotating tool. So, anyways, back to regular speed, and I'll pick this up after.
I like it. Now, does it make a smooth, straight cut? Hell no. There, get that off. Now I gotta get these aluminum shavings off my pants. Well, that's gonna stick to everything. Okay, so I now have a square cut for my EFIS, but it looks like heck, or yeah. So I need to file it to make it straight and sand it to make it smooth. So let's get on it. That's what it looks like rough. Actually, it sits like this. That's the rough cutout. Very jagged, very rough, you know, but it's quick. I can tell you something. I've been using cutoff wheels with the Dremel tool, and I've never used this type of a bit before, and boy, it's still sharp. It went through, it says that it goes through aluminum and all that kind of stuff, and it does. It made that cut. Now, you really have to put some muscle into it to keep it on track, and you're not going to keep it on track. But while working on this, I figured out the way not to ruin what you're doing. If you want to cut the line, you want to cut on the inside of the line, the part that you're throwing away. And in order to do that, you've got to cut this or move this in such a fashion that it wants to drift into here rather than drifting this way. It depends on how it's rotating. So if you're drifting this way, then go in the opposite direction so it drifts this way. And so if you go offline, you don't go offline into your panel, you go offline into the part you're throwing away. I hope that makes sense. Okay, wow. Now for the filing and the smoothing and straightening. Let's get at her. Back to work.
And here I get to use another power tool. Yay! I like my power tools, especially this Milwaukee oscillating tool. As far as sanding, that kind of stuff, boy, it's a game changer. It really lets you get into these corners, and it works relatively quickly. I had 80 grit sandpaper pads on there, and it did quick work to it. And then I stepped it up to 120 grit to smooth that out a bit, and then finally I used some 600 grit on just regular sandpaper and smooth it out even more to make it very buttery smooth. But yeah, this oscillating tool, as far for sanding these rough cuts, it's a game changer as well. Worked great. Anyways, back to regular speed.
gonna go grab the EFIS and see if it fits in the hole. And there we go. Took a little bit of sanding with this to smooth it out because it was pretty rough, and to make slight adjustments, you know, just so that it sits straight. But after the adjustments were made and it's nice and buttery smooth corners now, nothing rough, I'm pretty happy with that. So now, what I need to do, I'm going to put nut plates on the back side here, because if we ever have to remove the EFIS, I don't want to have to remove the whole panel and get the little nuts in the back, and oh, forget it. So I have some nut plates, and I'm going to mount the nut plates back here. They're flush nut plates. Or flush rivets, I should say. The rivets are flush. This is very thick. This is really, really thick aluminum. Very, very thick stuff. So I'm going to be able to countersink the rivets without having to dimple the nut plates. Yeah, there's a lot of meat on here. A lot of meat. It's a lot heavier than it needs to be, but that's the aluminum that I was given. And it's what we bought, and it's what we're working with. So breakers along the bottom. These are the resettable click-on style breakers. You've seen these before. Standard breakers here, okay, with the simple pull to disengage, and that's it. Yeah, so I've got a whole bunch over here that we salvaged from other projects, that kind of stuff that didn't go through, or maybe they bought too much or whatever. So I've got a lot of them, but I'm still going to have to purchase a couple of those breakers, mostly the big ones. So the only thing I need to cut in here now that's left is my master switch, and there we go. My master switch and charging circuit switch. So yeah, that's on, off, off. So yeah, got to cut that in yet, and that's going right here, off to the side, right there. These are toggle or rocker switches, same that I have on my panel. So they're going above the breakers, and these will control everything from you know, landing lights, strobe, anti-collision lights, that kind of stuff, pitot heat, whatnot. That's all these here. This is going to be master switch and charge circuit. So now I got to cut a square hole here now for that, and that's next before I carry on. So yeah. Quick update there. Another edit cut, and on with more work. Back to work.
And I'm back to using the cutoff wheel on this particular cut, simply because it's very small, not a big cut like the EFIS, and it does make a straighter line, and I have to do less filing and sanding in order to clean it up and to get the master switch installed. So I decided to use the cutoff wheel. Unfortunately, the cutoff wheel, well, it's too big. So I'll show that in a minute. I actually describe what I have to do and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and so on. But yeah, this part here is done with the cutoff wheel. And he's back to regular speed again.
The cutting wheel is too big for this narrow of a channel that I've got to cut. So I'm going to flip it over and try and cut it again from the other side. Naturally, it needs to be filed. This time I'm going to have to use a file because I won't be able to use my vibrating, oscillating, gyrating, something aiding, cordless Milwaukee thing. I'm going to have to use the old school. But first, let's see how close I got to hang on. Don't know why they do that. Okay. Yeah, it's just slightly too small. Perfect, because once I clean it, it'll make it the right size. Won't bore you with the filing business. You'll just know that it's going on. I'll be right back in a flash. Okay. All right. Master and charge switch. We'll go in right there. I'm not going to snap it in place, not yet, because it's a pain in the ass to snap it in and out, but I actually did already once off camera. It fits. There's the master switch, fuses, breakers, whatever you want to call them. Hang on, let me grab one. They will, there, right side up, like that. And then of course the rocker switches on top. So that will be fuses all the way along. EFIS, two-way radio, airspeed, altimeter. Now, my altimeter, you know, I cut this nice beautiful hole here and all the screws and holes, that kind of stuff. Then, excuse me, off camera here, I realized that the knob has this raised area. Oh, a little better in frame there. Raised area around here. I need to notch out here in order to, well, of course it's coming from the back side, but I need to notch that out so that the little knob is right there. So airspeed goes here, altitude goes here. I need to make a little notch. That might be another job for that rotary Dremel tool. Yeah, that somewhat concerns me because, well, I don't have a template for it or any pattern or anything to follow. I'm going to have to kind of go by eye. So, yeah, that sucks. I'm sure there is a template or some cutout or something I can use for that, but I don't have it here at the hangar. And I told myself that today I am going to get this panel a little bit of glue on there. This panel cut, drilled, and ready for mounting of switches and everything, as well as EFIS, and just I want this panel to be at the point at the end of today, this piece of aluminum, ready to accept all the instruments. So, yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll get right back to you when I do. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right, boys and girls. Follow along. This altimeter, of course, has a knob attached over here, and as I explained earlier, it's got this piece that juts out. So I had to notch it out there, and now that's how she fits. Oh, let's get this nice and close. So it fits inside there, the altimeter, and perfect. Airspeed is going here, and this little one is the radio, but there's the altimeter with the little notch cut out there. And yeah, so there we go. Once again, that cutting tool from Dremel, that worked really well. Made a rough cut with it, and then I had to go over it with a round file and a little triangle file, and I kept on working at it until it finally fit. And there we go. Now, don't worry about the scuff marks or any of that kind of stuff. This panel is not going to be an aluminum panel. I don't like that. My panel, if you recall, looks like carbon fiber. It's not. It's that 3M wrap they use for cars that people put on their hoods and stuff to make them look like carbon fiber. But this stuff is actually really good. It's designed to be on a car that you wash and gets the weathering, that kind of stuff. So I kind of figure it'll last a while. So this is going to be covered in that same carbon fiber finish, and then the instruments will be on top of that, and I think it'll look cool. Yeah, not quite finished with everything yet. I got a little bit of trimming, a little bit of this, a little bit of that to do, as usual. But I'm going to wipe this thing down now with MEK, because MEK will strip all this ink off of it and get all the grease and any glue that it's left over from the tape that I used to hold the paper templates down. By the way, let me show you those. I didn't record that part. It was earlier on today. I got here to the hangar today at 8 a.m. and time right now is 5:50 p.m. So I took a bit of a lunch break. Oh, come on, get out of there. All right, this is the template that I used for drilling my holes. Now, I did this on a CAD program where I had the exact diameter of the switches and the profiles of the breakers, that kind of stuff, and that way I can line them up perfectly on my CAD program. And I'm using TurboCAD, by the way, in case you're wondering. I'm not using AutoCAD. I can't afford that. But TurboCAD actually is very affordable if you're looking at getting into some CAD work, and it does a very good job. It's affordable if you're into that. If not, I'm sure you've got some other drawing programs, that kind of stuff that you've got, some artwork programs that you can work in real world dimensions, a 1-to-1 ratio, which is what I used to make this. That way the spacing between here, they're perfectly in line, and when I made the round switches, at the exact center I put a red dot. Same thing for the breakers, I put a red dot on those, so that when I taped this to my panel, all I had to do was hit the red dot with the center punch, and when this was peeled off, the center punches are all there, and it was in a perfect straight line. So if you look at that, they're exactly straight, perfectly separated. There's 4 and 4, and so in order to do it that way, get a drawing first. Get your dimensions, work that out, print this off, cut it, paste it to where you want in that configuration. Center punch on your little red dots right in the very center, and you will have a perfect straight line and nicely spaced, and it'll look good. So there, this space here is being reserved, this space here, because some of the guys who are part owners of the aircraft, they would like to make the aircraft IFR capable, and so we're leaving that open for the Garmin GPS that's required for the IFR, and likewise there's space here for the second radio. So we've got one radio that's going here, and I measured it, and there is just enough clearance to get a second radio right there, because you're backup for IFR. You need the 2 radios. And if we put a nav comm in here, we're going to use a remote nav comm in that aircraft. So there we go. This is for an Emirate. It's the start of its panel. And yeah, in here, a lot of hours working on this. A lot more hours deciding what to do and what not to do, and changing things. I think we covered that in the early one where I introduced the Emirate. So yeah, it's at the point now where I can start mounting things and wiring things and make it look real pretty like. I like it when it looks pretty, you know. Alrighty, I think that'll be it for this episode, which is complete diversions from the Challenger 2 over to the Emirate. It's all I've done is this panel, literally all day, and got a lot more working on it. It's days and days and days of work. And, so wiring diagram for that has already been done. So I know how everything's going to get wired together now that the switches and breakers and that kind of stuff get mounted in there. All I got to do is follow my wiring diagram. So pre-planning really works. All right. Again, thank you very much for following along. I appreciate every one of you. Love the comments. Keep them coming. And again, quick shout out where you're from. If you haven't told me where you're from, just quick shout out where you're from. And kind of want to see where it's at. I'm a tiny little YouTube channel, and so we're a pretty close-knit crowd here. Maybe soon I'll break 200, subscribers. Whoa! I never thought I'd get more than 100 ever. Who's going to watch this? Other, airplane people and experimental people, but I guess people are kind of interested in how we crazies do things. Anyways, too much yak, a little more work, and a lot of cleanup. My God, this country is horrible. So, like and subscribe, leave a comment, and remember, keep your stick on the ice. Bye for now.
Well, now that all you Monty Python fans, like me, know where the title came from, how many of you can tell me that you know where the keep your stick on the ice came from? Leave that in the comments. Let's see how many of you figure that one out. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.